Hi everyone. Hopefully you are as excited about the Sonnet 2 audio processor and the Maestro 8 that drives it. My name is Ilona Anderson and I'm the Corporate Director of Clinical Research at MED-EL. In our discussion here, we'd like to take the features and see how useful these are in the real world. With me, I have two experts from MED-EL and one experienced audiologist. Anja Kurtz is currently working as technical lead at the Comprehensive Hearing Center in Würzburg, and they run a large hearing implant program. She's heavily involved in research in the areas of fitting and hearing performance. Peter Knopp is our Director of Research for Signal Processing at MED-EL, and he is working in the field of cochlear implants for over 22 years. And David Retz is our Director of Product Management. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
So the Sonnet 2 is an exciting new audio processor. David, what do you see as the biggest improvement from a technical point of view in the Sonnet 2?
We're very proud to say that we have 25 years of legacy support. Patients that have been implanted with our first multi-channel implants are able to benefit from the latest technology that we have integrated into the Sonnet 2. If I should name the three most outstanding features the Sonnet 2 comes with: advanced front end, the ASM 3.0, which comes with great new features like adaptive intelligence, transient noise reduction, and ambient noise reduction. The extended data logging features are great, not only for the professionals, but also for the patients or parents to adapt the processor to the circumstances the user is in. And last but not least, of course, the very extensive connectivity options. So the Sonnet 2 system comes with two exciting external devices. One is the FineTuner Echo remote control, and the other one is the AudioLink. The AudioLink is an all-in-one device that enables the user to stream music, to stream from a TV, to use the mobile phone with a hands-free option, and data streaming, which allows the processor to connect to Android or Apple smartphones and to benefit from features like, for example, Find Your Processor.
Anja, what does the Sonnet 2 provide your users for better connectivity?
Well, connectivity is a big issue, is a big topic. Nowadays, everything is steered through mobile phones. So I would say this was an important point that was missing in the MED-EL portfolio, and now it is there. So I encountered many patients that were asking, so how can I connect to my mobile phone? How can I do that? And of course, it's easy to use an inductive loop and so on, use Bluetooth connection or so whatsoever. But having now the AudioLink, and just have it paired to your mobile phone or the TV makes it so much easier. So this was something that was requested quite often, and we are very excited that it's now here.
I hope your users are too.
Yeah, they are.
Early users of the device like the new FineTuner Echo and the app. What have your early users mentioned to you about these devices?
They liked the design, first of all. They liked that there is a display on the remote control, so to give them full control of what they are doing and to have a clear view in which situation they are in. And as mentioned, the app was also requested by the recipients to have an app to steer the audio processor or to have the possibility to monitor what, for example, my child is doing. It's possible to set up different guardians. So the teacher, for example, can really monitor what's going on in the sound processors of the children. And as you can imagine, you're standing in front of a whole group of children. One of them, the battery is running out and so on. And the teacher can actually control it and have an idea of what's going on. So it's not the parent in the evening who is realizing, oh my God, my child didn't hear the whole day because the batteries were off. So there is much more control even in a schooling situation. So I think that's one of the big new advantages.
I think that's really an astounding feature, and I think it's going to make it a lot easier for teachers as well, so they don't get so stressed about managing every implant or how things are going with the process.
I agree.
Yeah, that's good. We're currently running an early experience review with some users. And one person said the rechargeable batteries were much easier to manage than normal batteries. I thought that was really interesting. David, how do you think users feel about the design of the Sonnet 2?
We got very positive feedback about the Sonnet 2, which is based on previous processor generations. People like the improved durability, the improved wearing comfort. One of the fun things that people really like is the endless numbers of combinations you can have with colors, with covers, so you can really adapt it to your style.
Now, David, I'm a swimmer. Okay, so if I were a user, what would help me if I wanted to go swimming?
That's a very good question. Of course, the Sonnet 2, with its IP rating, can withstand any weathers from very cold to very hot and very humid. But going swimming is a different thing. And we are very happy that we have the WaterWear solution, which is a thin cover that can be put on top of the processor and which even allows the users to go swim or to go diving with their device.
I think we have some great features in the Sonnet 2, and these are also driven by the software behind them. I last fitted cochlear implants when we were on the Zebra system, and I have some CI Studio Plus experience. David, fitting has come a long way since then. What are the technical highlights of the Maestro 8?
It's nice to see that the software evolves from version to version. And I think with this version, we've even made it more easier for the professionals to fit their patients. We wanted to offer them a very intuitive and easy device, really, to get the best possible hearing for their patients.
Jennifer mentioned that this software was based on audiologists' needs. We listened to what you had to say and have implemented this in the software. Anya, you're an experienced fitter. What features of the Maestro 8 make this great for new audiologists or to people who are new to fitting Medel cochlear implants?
I think one of the main features that has changed is in terms of the fitting flow. So before, in earlier versions, we spent a lot of time in creating a beautiful map, setting the thresholds, the MCL level, and then thinking or discussing with the patient in which situation do you want to use this map. And so then we had to steer the microphone settings, save it, and so on. And now it's so much easier because now there is the session view. So we spend a lot of time on setting up the map. And then we have the new overview, the session view, and we can still, in this very last point, we define what the front-end processing does. We can discuss with the patient for which situation do we need to switch on features like that. And even in that last step, we still have the possibility to go into the map and make fine adjustments. Mm-hmm. And that's great. It makes it so much easier for our daily work because originally we had to go back to the map, open it up again, make the changes, save it up again. So it's much easier. So that's one of the big benefits that we have now with the Maestro 8 system.
So actually it's great for new fitters as well as very experienced fitters because there's a lot you can fine-tune and do so that we individualize each map for each user.
Exactly. It's a different way of thinking about it. Mm-hmm. It's a different philosophy, but I believe with every new software that comes along, there's a different story behind, a different philosophy. And here we spend a lot of effort in setting up the map itself, but then in the end, we have the possibility of fine-tuning for the individual needs.
We have some key objective measures in the Maestro 8 software. These would include very fast auto art. How would that help in your fitting?
We are using auto art in children or in patients where we have not an easy communication, not an easy way of communicating with them. And it allows us to give us some objective idea of what's going on. Mm-hmm. And it allows us to set levels and then look at their behavioral response. So it's a good tool, it's quick, and it's effective. And the way we can evolve our fitting is just, I would say we use it as a good starting point, and then fine-tuning works depending on the way how you used to do it. We are more working with behavioral measures. Mm-hmm. We are not exclusively sticking on objective measures, but it's a very, very good starting point. And we stick to that when we have adults where we have difficulty in communicating.
Yeah, so it's actually a nice mix that you can use when you fit.
Yes.
Peter, we have some powerful tools in the Maestro 8, including extended data logging, EABR and ESRT. What is the most exciting one for you?
You can actually control all front-end features by map. Previously, we had some of the features or parameters that were by processor or by configuration. Others were individual to each map. Now everything is individual to each map. So you can really tailor a certain map to the individual need of a particular user.
Now, we also have challenging cases. Okay, we have, for example, triphasic pulses and the ECOG-G. Have you used these at all, and to what benefit?
Yes, we are using triphasic pulses. We have some cases where patients have a facial nerve stimulation for whatever reason. It appears straight after surgery when you first activate those patients. It can appear after some time. And for these cases, it's great to have triphasic pulses. I personally like them a lot because this just removes the facial nerve stimulation. From the ECOG point of view, where we have not started with it, we will start to.
Okay, that's exciting. So maybe Peter could give us a little information about the ECOGs.
Well, you know that hearing preservation is at the heart of MED-EL, and that's where the ECOG-G comes in. The respective tool in the software has been used to monitor hearing preservation or residual hearing during electrode insertion. And there's also research done on the correlation between the post-operative ECOG-G and the post-operative audiogram. So we do put great hopes into the ECOG-G in order to further progress with hearing preservation and in order to further progress with guiding electrode insertion to make hearing preservation most effectually, so to speak.
Yeah. Another key issue is fitting people who use bilateral implants. I know your clinic has quite a few of them. Or people who wear a hearing aid on the other ear. Peter, what do you think of the easy changing of loudness for this group? And the fact we don't even need a special fitting algorithm for bimodal users?
We've always designed our systems with natural hearing in mind. There is a number of aspects in which certain pieces in our system model natural hearing through a cochlear implant, I would say, as accurately as possible today. Now, why is this important in terms of fitting bilateral users or maybe bimodal users or people with single-sided deafness? Because of the fact that we are modeling some of the important aspects of normal hearing as accurately as we do, there is really no need to somehow tailor the contralateral hearing aid or the cochlear implant in a certain special form. One of the key aspects, for example, is that our front-end automatic volume control pretty nicely models the compressive functions of the inner ear. And that creates natural loudness growth.
So Anja, we also have cortical measures implemented in the software now. How would that impact your fitting?
Well, to be honest, I haven't tried it so far, but it's great to have the opportunity in the software to actually monitor it. So to verify if a certain fitting really led to a response in the brain. I mean, that's what we want to know. So I'm excited to investigate further on it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be very interesting and maybe provide us with some interesting research outcomes as well as good use, I think, particularly for young children or people who can't communicate as well. What key features of the ASM 3.0 would you highlight? What would make a difference to your users?
From the need of the users, I would say the adaptive intelligence is a great feature. The different scenes that can be identified by the sound processor and then steer independently other algorithms, other features at the back. I think this makes it so much easier for the patient. I mean, this patient is not sitting at home, waiting for something to happen. These are people that go on a job, have their daily living, have a family around, children around. We need a setup that just satisfies all those needs. We often have clients that work in noisy environments. And it's great to have the ambient noise reduction in order to tailor a program, for example, a working program for just that situation. But the other thing is, most of the time, after 1 year, patients don't run around with their remote control anymore. You just say, oh, it's nicely fitted, and I don't have the need to change programs all the time. So that's at least what I experienced. So to have now the possibility to set up a program with adaptive intelligence where all these different scenes are first detected and then arranged in a way to enhance the speech signal or to enable a more ambient noise or softer level is just great.
I think it's really, really exciting. So some users have said that the Sonnet 2 is better than the processor they wore before, and I think that's really exciting news for us, and I'm sure that's really defined by the features that are driven by Maestro 8. David, what are the key performance outcomes you would see when people use the Sonnet 2 and Maestro 8 software?
As we're putting the users in the center of everything that we do at MED-EL, we were very happy to hear the feedback that they really liked the system. They specifically like the hearing performance they have with the system and the ease of use. The new front-end features have been received very well, and many users report that for them, listening in difficult situations have become much easier. So they really like those features, and that's of course a great feedback for us.
That's excellent. What else do you expect?
We do expect that they will also greatly benefit from the enhanced durability, from the user comfort. Also, that we, as we're still sticking to the modularity concept, that the processor is growing with the users. A lot of patients are small children and their needs change over time when they grow up. And we are offering a lot of different wearing options where they can really adapt the processor specifically to the situation they are in. I said sports, swimming, those are things that the MED-EL processor is really performing excellently.
Peter, you talked about having a philosophy of following the natural auditory system. It's not just a processor and a software. What else is involved?
Our philosophy is to see a CI system as a whole. A CI system, as the name says, is a system. It's not the processor per se, which does this thing, or the electrode per se, or the implant per se. It's the entire system, and it needs an organic design, in a sense, right, of the entire system to really reach the best outcome for our users. Our philosophy is to match natural hearing as closely as possible through our system. Basically, I'm striving for the ideal cochlear implant. I think with the ideal cochlear implant, the brain wouldn't even notice that there is a cochlear implant out there. It's being natural about everything.
Anja, you've done a lot of work on fine structure processing and the front-end features and the benefits achieved. Could you tell us about some of your experiences?
We have one group of patients that is quite challenging, I would say. These are the single-sided deaf patients. By having one ear that is hearing perfectly fine and the other one implanted with a cochlear implant just makes it so challenging for us because they compare constantly. So the experience that we have with the longer electrode arrays and the way of the sound processing that is implemented in the MED-EL systems is that they are more easily to achieve a level where they say, now it sounds better, it sounds equal. And I think this is the group where we can see most of the effects of fine structure processing. We have a comparison to the normal acoustic hearing on the other side. So I would say from that group, so what I hear from that group, yes, it sounds much more natural. There are studies that have been conducted that showed how to set up the sound processor in order to have a more natural matching. And it's just, I believe, the philosophy of the fine structure processing to code to enhance the pitch, which makes it much more easier to achieve a natural hearing.
What else do we have that's exciting from you? Have people reported about microphone directionality, the wind noise reduction, or anything like that?
With the early experience that we gained so far, people really like those new features. When we ask them to compare situations like when wind noise reduction is on and off, and also the ambient noise cancellation, we have the possibility to always switch it on and off. Send people away and say, okay, give it a try, and then come back and tell us. Most of them came back and said, it's great, I want to keep it. So we saw an immediate reaction of the new features in our clients. So that's good. That gives us a good feeling as audiologists that what the parameters that we steer in the software really work efficiently.
Peter, some early users said music was great and others said it's still difficult. What are your experience and thoughts of that?
One thing that we really put great hopes on is further individualization of cochlear implant treatment in general. Not each user is the same, and not all cochlears, for example, are of the same length. So that's why we offer a range of electrode choices, so that using Ottoplan, for example, the surgeon can pick the most appropriate electrode for each particular user. And then going beyond that, we will bring in anatomy-based fitting, which is another element of further individualization, and that's where fitting comes into the play. And the concept here is to really tailor fitting the particular user and the particular electrode that that user has gotten inserted by the surgeon. The concept here is to really tie the fitting to where the electrode sits in the cochlea, so that all the frequencies that make up the music are presented at the correct place in the cochlea. And that's another element we want to concentrate on in the future. And in that sense, tie electrode choice, surgery, atraumatic insertion, and anatomy-based fitting to allow each user to get the best out of his implant. And we're really looking forward to providing these tools to you in the future.
I think that's really excellent. And I'd like to thank all of you for coming to the table today. The future is now. The Sonnet 2 and Maestro 8 featuring ASM 3.0, connectivity, advanced data logging, and useful objective measures are here. When we designed these products, we listened to you. This results in peace of mind for you as an audiologist. We provide ease of use for fitting for new audiologists and a whole toolbox for experienced audiologists too. And finally, we provide great hearing performance for our users. As always, our devices are backwards compatible. The ASM 3.0 with noise reduction features have already impressed our early users. Our philosophy of Triformance shows our drive to get listening as close as possible to natural hearing. But we still want to hear from you about our new products. What do you think? What are the features? We are open ears for your experiences. Thank you for listening, and thank you so much for joining us. We hope that what we have told you today gets you as excited as we are.